How does a man become a trooper? Let's follow this fellow for a while. Recruiting announcements are given on the radio and TV, and with notices posted. At recruiting time, applications are of application at the barracks. If he has any questions, the officer on duty will supply the answer. A written examination to determine the applicant's mental ability, a general knowledge test. It does not pertain to law, or all the state police want to know is, what is the extent of this man's knowledge and what is his ability to think? Then those who successfully pass the written exam are given a thorough physical examination by the state surgeon general. The candidate must be in perfect physical condition. The doctor checks carefully. The candidate must also be a Massachusetts resident and between the ages of 21 and 29, have a driver's license, and be able to swim 50 yards. The minimum height for a candidate is 5 feet 9 inches. Weight must be proportionate. But that fellow stepping on the scales, what kind of a man is he? Non-commissioned officers of the state police investigate each candidate after he has successfully passed the physical exam. Check into his background, home conditions, employers, former school teachers, the police chief in his community, and any other source which might reflect his character. A report is then made on these things to the interview board. The board, comprised of the commissioner, the executive officer, and the adjutant, holds a personal interview with the applicant. If a point discovered during the investigation needs clarification, the applicant is then asked about it. The board judges him from the standpoint of appearance, manner, and speech. And if he passes these things, there's the notice in the mail. Now the order contained in that notice to report to the State Police Academy in Framingham. The first step toward becoming a trooper has been completed. Now the next and most important step, the academy. 3 months from now, these men will know whether they have passed the grade. Becoming a trooper, in other words, is really just beginning. 5:30 comes early in the morning, but from here on, 5:30 is wake-up time. This is the first day. Notice those lazy fellows, how they drift out of bed. But this is the first morning. They don't know what's coming. First formation is greeted with sleepy eyes that are soon calisthenics. Push-up. A good deep breath of that morning air. Followed by a run around the track at the academy. And this run will be stretched each day until first thing they know, they'll be doing it in double time with no effort at all. After breakfast, a little military drill is in order, and it's exactly that. This is considered a vital part of training as, first of all, it teaches discipline and the need to react quickly to man. It develops the carriage and military bearing of a state trooper. A few days of basic drill, then the men are issued rifles, which will be used in close order drill and the manual of arms. Now the trick is to perform the close order drill without tripping over that rifle. As the state police is a highly disciplined organization, a couple of hours each day are devoted to these maneuvers. Of prime importance to any police officer is a complete knowledge of all the laws he will be required to enforce and an understanding of his power to act and make arrests. Accent is placed on education in the criminal laws of the Commonwealth, and the greatest amount of time on any one subject at the Academy is spent on this particular phase. During the 3-month period, more than 100 hours of instruction will be devoted to this subject. Note-taking will be plentiful because on each Saturday morning, applicants will be examined on the law discussed during the week. The motorcycle is not as popular a vehicle as it was 30 or 40 years ago, but it remains mighty important to the state police. There are many narrow, winding highways in the state, and too, a motorcycle is invaluable at summer resorts or any event that draws large crowds. The bike can worm its way through traffic and pedestrians where an automobile would be useless. Very rarely has a recruit ridden one of these before, so instruction must start from scratch. The various gadgets on the handlebars and around the footboards are explained. For instance, you don't step on the gas, you turn one of the handle grips, and so on. The clutch is the lever on the handlebar, and gears are changed by flipping a lever with your left toe, but one step at a time. They're allowed to get off to a slow start in a low speed and do not shift into any higher speeds until they become very familiar with the vehicle. Now, of course, 3 times during each day, one has to eat. This is one formation that's always welcome. These men are well fed. No need to count calories during this rugged course. After eating, for some, work. The KP detail, putting the mess hall into spick and span shape after 50 hungry men have finished eating. Motor vehicle law instruction. The recruits are indoctrinated into the manual control of traffic. They are shown how to direct traffic with clear and distinct signals and be understood by the motorist. The instructors of this course are graduates of the Traffic Institute of Northwestern University. Traffic patrol will consume a great deal of time, and a complete understanding of the problem is necessary. Of course, the trooper must be a good traffic officer. No one wants to be given a ticket for a traffic violation, but with more than 40,000 people being killed on the highways of this country each year, it is a necessary function of all police. The trooper is shown the proper manner of stopping a violator to obtain the necessary information with due regard for safety, courtesy, and firmness. The ability to recognize every type of small arms is important to a police officer. The state police firearms identification expert explains the peculiarities of different weapons of both foreign and domestic manufacture. In this exacting science, a photomicrograph of a bullet is used to point out to the class the striations that can be found, which are used to positively identify a bullet as having come from one particular weapon. The day of giving a police officer a gun and badge and saying, "Now you are a police officer," is over. Explicit instruction in the use of weapons is important. Firearm safety can never be overstressed. All are required to pass the New England Police Revolver League minimum requirements of at least marksman before they can graduate from the academy. If they fail, they are discharged. Now the men are lining up. A fast break for another adventure which they fall for. The beloved obstacle course. Many times a trooper will find that he must overcome an opponent in physical combat. The academy staff spends many hours of instruction with the class teaching 12 judo holds, which would suit practically every situation. This enables the trooper to overcome resistance quickly with minimum force. An armed opponent can easily be disarmed or an aggressive assailant subdued this way. Now let's try it on each other. The instructors now demonstrate the proper way to apprehend a person in a car and search him. It is a carefully planned approach designed to protect the officers, and it results in a systematic search for any hidden weapon or other contraband. Daily motorcycle instruction continues. Men are getting used to them, becoming more familiar with the maneuverability of the vehicle. Yet are still confined to the academy grounds, with their progress being watched very closely. State police are continually being called upon for emergency work at the scene of highway accidents, drownings, and other catastrophes. They must be trained in the latest techniques of first aid and the use of all emergency equipment. A method of artificial respiration, the Hogan-Nielsen system, or the so-called arm lift method, is also demonstrated to the class. Each recruit must take his turn trying it out, shifting from one trainee to another without the loss of rhythm.